Okay, the title of this video, I probably used the words empath and HSP, which stands for highly sensitive person. Highly sensitive persons. The big butterfly just went flying by, fluttering by. Okay, yeah, I wanted to talk about empathy and sensitivity because there are a lot of people who are sensitive to other people's energy. They're sensitive to negative energy. I know of a few massage therapists who have worked on people and they didn't listen to their intuition and end the session, and they ended up in bed for like 4 days because they were like siphoned. Their energy was drained. That's an empath. And it's also what some people call a psychic attack. One of the things that many people are realizing is that energy is real. And it's these empaths and highly sensitive persons who are the ones who have been told that they're crazy and what are you talking about, and or they have to be silent because they know how people think. And I'll post some links of work that scientists have done to prove that yes, energy is very real, and there are people who are more sensitive to energy than other people. Sometimes it is a good thing. It can be a pleasant experience because people who are empaths and highly sensitive persons can go out into nature and feel the energy, coming from the earth, coming from the trees. They feel that calming. And astrology talks about all of this. People who tend to have a water moon or a lot of water on their natal chart, Cancer moon, Pisces moon, possibly Scorpio moon. Scorpio is a little bit different because Scorpio is ruled by a fire sign planet, which is Mars, the planet that rules the sign of Aries. And Aries people are not sensitive people. They don't have this sensitivity that I'm talking about. But the water sign people, they feel very deeply. These are the people who can walk into a room, and if there is any kind of negative stuff that just happened, before they got there, the vibration, the energy, whatever you want to call it, that's left over. An empath, a sensitive, or a water moon person can sense that energy. Now, I said that sometimes it is, positive. It's both positive and negative. But the negative side of it manifests as symptoms. It manifests as anxiety. It manifests as, different types of symptoms, shakiness, head pressure, just out of nowhere. It manifests as, you walk into a room and your stomach is just turning over. And a lot of people, if they're not spiritually aware enough, they're going to go to doctors and they're going to get medicated, and they're not going to realize or make the connection, hey, wait a minute, I'm an empath, I'm a sensitive. They're not aware of their astrology, their moon sign, and, what else is on their natal chart that causes, that's an indicator of, sensitivity. For example, if you have a lot of planets in the sign of Pisces, if you have a lot of planets in, the sign of Cancer, you can have that sensitivity. or in one of the houses. The fourth house is ruled by Cancer. The eighth house is ruled by Scorpio. Scorpio is a water sign. And, and so on. Pisces rules the 12th house. That's Pisces house, the 12th house. So, that's one of the things that I talk about on my astrology channel. The sensitivity can make it really, really more difficult. It makes it, the sensitivity makes it difficult for these individuals to get through life than people who are not so deeply sensitive. Dr. Abraham Lowe talked about three different categories of people who suffer with nervous symptoms. There are the people who he referred to as dull. And this was many years ago. This is many decades ago. This is kind of old language. When he says dull, he just means that they're just not sensitive. They just are all about the material world, and they don't sense. It's just all logic and reason. What I can see, nothing's there unless I see it. And they don't have any kind of suffering with their nervous system or sensitivity. Now you've got these other people who are middle ground. They're somewhere in the middle, and they have some sensitivity, but it's not like a tidal wave or like a tsunami like it is with people who are, those sensitive souls, those real, true, empathic people and highly sensitive persons. And it's really difficult because it's kind of like, this world is a negative world, and it's like being in a cesspool or in a place where there's a bad odor. Other people are not really picking it up. There are other people who, they kind of know that something's not right, but they're able to be distracted enough from it to not really suffer. If they do suffer, they're not aware, they don't make the connection. But it's not going to be as overwhelming as it is for a full-on empath, highly sensitive person. It's not going to be as overwhelming. So, go ahead and leave your thoughts. Who are you other empathic people out there? Who are you highly sensitive people out there? Share your experiences. Do you work in fields where, you sense other people's negative energy and you have to take all these measures, these holistic measures, spiritual measures, in order to build yourself up and help to shield yourself, from these unexpected situations that happen? I know of one individual who shared his story online. I don't know if it's okay to say who he is or not, but he shared his story, and there was a woman who he worked with. And this woman was always just starting stuff with him. And she kept doing it and kept doing it and kept doing it. And, it just kept going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And what ended up happening was one day he came to work. He turned a corner. You might know I'm talking about him. I don't know. Turned a corner, and there she was. And there was this, he said that it was like something pulled his natural eyes aside, or the veil over the natural eyes, and he was able to see into, you can call it the collective unconscious, you can call it the spiritual realm. But in that moment, he was able to see on another level. He was able to see pure evil. And from that moment on, because once these awarenesses happen, once you have these awarenesses, then it's yours. You can't go back. And every day that he went to work, until he was able to finally leave that job, whenever she was around, he would get physically ill. He would get, his stomach would turn, he would get, shakiness. That's sensitivity. That's spiritual sensitivity. And this individual happens to have a lot of Pisces on his chart. And I'm using his story as an example, and the massage therapist, friends of mine, as an example of this empathy. It's really real. And the video link that I'm about to leave, that I'm going to leave under this video, will show the work that scientists have done to finally prove, it doesn't need to be proven to people who are already spiritually aware, but it can get abused, and like spiritual people who are involved in religions, and they have the sensitivity, and that they can, with their ignorance of the bigger picture, it turns into religious insanity. And it's all for a lack of knowledge. If people were given the knowledge that the scientific community doesn't want people to know, and the church didn't want people to know either, because people are easier to control, and that's where the money is. But the scientists, there are so many of them that end up on the quack list trying to present work that's like 100 years old, studies for years, decades, and they still won't listen. I've listened to Rupert Sheldrake. I have his books. He's here on YouTube. Bruce Lipton. Jeffrey Mishlove. I've watched his television show back when he was on PBS before YouTube. And he is a psychologist, a parapsychologist, and he has his master's in criminology. He's a criminologist. And one of the things that he saw when he was working in that field of criminology was the spiritual dynamics behind the things that people do, the horrible crimes that people committed, and the people that he had to counsel. And there was definitely, with his psychology, with his master's in criminology, with all of that, he was able to come to this realization that, yeah, there is something else. But it's not what religion has to say, because religion has left so much out. And that's his battle as a scientist, to, battle with his own, people, with the status quo people. I'm speaking as an intuitive. I'm speaking as a fellow empath, a fellow highly sensitive person. And I'm tired of the shame. There are people out there whose parents have shamed them. If they have symptoms, because of the negative energy that they sense, that they pick up, just because that's who they are, that's what they are. Parents, instead of building that child up and encouraging that child and loving that child, they put the child down. Stop being weak. You're too sensitive. What's wrong with you? Oh, there she goes again. Oh, she's having one of her anxiety episodes again. And people get a steady diet of that negativity in response to their sensitivity. And that's the men as well. It's the men as well. And then you're shamed for having this sensitivity. Or you may dream. You may have the ability to dream things before they happen. It's called precognition. Precognitive dreams. But then you're part of a church, and then you tell somebody, and then, oh, you're possessed by the devil. If you dream about something regarding their church, it's okay. But if you dream something outside of their narrow little whole wall, the little world, with the horse blinders, and you see something beyond that. For example, you have a grandmother who dies, and then that grandmother comes to you in a dream, or you have a vision. You tell your religious nutcase relatives, and they tell you that you're seeing demons. Your atheist relatives tell you that you're insane, and they try to, have you locked up. And we have this science, and these scientists who are saying, yes, this is real. Quantum mechanics is saying, this is real. Jung, he knew. He taught us about the collective unconscious. He taught us about the archetypal energies. He taught us so much. Dr. Rupert Sheldrake, he talks about his morphogenic fields and how one field can definitely affect another field. These are scientists, and they're still being tormented by the scientific community, which is behaving the way that the Vatican behaved back in the days when they condemned. The Vatican condemned scientists, and now the scientists are behaving like the Vatican. There's all this evidence. They won't listen to these men. They call them quacks. And this information could help people. It could really help people to, okay, I'm a sensitive. In shamanistic societies in ancient times, they knew this stuff. They knew that this individual is a warrior. That individual, that would be the Aries people. That would be the fire sign people. They knew that these people are the sensitive people, but they are the dreamers. They are the ones who are the sensors. So they see, they sense. That's who those people were. They weren't condemned for who they were. And astrology has helped me. Psychology as well, Jungian psychology, as well as astrology has helped me with this. And then the parts of the Bible that they don't like to talk about in church, you'll never see any preacher giving a sermon based on any of these scriptures. Or it's only for the people, the Bible characters. But it's not for you. You're just possessed by the devil, and you are a sinner. Calling yourself empathic, calling yourself intuitive. That word isn't in the Bible. So, about my astrology channel, I talk about the psychology. I talk about transgenerational abuse. I talk about the indicators of those things and what people are able to do, the direction they're able to do, the direction they're able to move in to be able to begin to try to heal those things. I share things that I've gone through and things that I use to try to heal myself, because I'm going through a healing process. I'm not healed yet. Oh, it's because you didn't do it right. You didn't give your life to Jesus the right way. Oh, you mean when I was there, sobbing at the altar, pouring my guts out to you guys? And you made all these promises, and you're all caught up in this prosperity gospel, and you're all caught up in, yeah, they're watching me right now. You're pissed off because I am evil. Because I looked down the rabbit hole. It's not fun down there. I'm not going to mention their names. They know who they are. You know who you are. Okay. These are the things I talk about on my astrology channel. And I will be digging into the religious hypocrisy even more on that channel than I have on this channel. And then talking about, sharing ideas, healing. My hope is that people will respond and leave comments and get the discussion going about being an empath, about being a highly sensitive person. Have you had experiences like my massage therapist friends where you've had to end a session or you didn't end a session when you should have because of the reality of negative energy? that people carry. And you pick it up, it overwhelms you. Yeah, it's real. You're not demonic. You're not evil. But I'm going to go ahead and end the video for now. I will do more videos either here or over at Soul Fitness Divas Astrology blog, VLOG. And I'll see you over here or I'll see you over there. If you're not over there yet, click the link. It's either in the description box or it's on the video, depending on what YouTube is doing now. Anyway, I'll see you there or I'll see you here. You take care. Bye-bye.